Live from London, I'm Kasia Madeira. This is BBC News. The Hollywood star Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa have been found dead in their home in the United States. Police say there is no immediate indication of foul play. So the breaking news that the Oscar-winning American actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa have been found dead in their home in New Mexico in the United States. Police are saying that there currently is an active investigation, but that they do not believe there is foul play as a factor. However, they say that the exact cause of death has not been determined. Now, Gene Hackman, who was 95, he won 2 Oscars and 2 BAFTAs in his career, which spanned decades. Among the many awards, he won Best Actor Oscar in 1972 for his role as Detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in the film The French Connection. Paying tribute, the director Francis Ford Coppola described Gene Hackman as a great artist, an incredible artist. Our correspondent Charlotte Gallagher has been monitoring this for us from the moment that this news broke. Important to say, at the moment it's an active police investigation. We just don't have many details.
No, we've been literally given a few lines of information from the police in Santa Fe. They say that the bodies of Gene Hackman, who was 95, his wife Betsy, who was 64, and the body of their pet dog was found at their home in Santa Fe. They say foul play is not suspected, but they haven't yet determined any causes of death. But obviously this is unusual for the bodies of 2 people and also this pet dog to be found in this house at the same time. But this is an active investigation. Police are still on the scene in Santa Fe and they're giving information as and when. But truly a shock for this to happen, and obviously incredibly sad. Gene Hackman was known for so many films. He starred in over 100 films. He won 2 Oscars, as you said, for The French Connection and Unforgiven. That was in 1992. He also won Golden Globes, BAFTA awards in so many films that people would have seen. So he was in Superman 1 and 2, playing the villainous Lex Luthor, Mississippi Burning, which was a film but loosely based on the true life story of civil rights activists who were murdered. He was also in films like, as I said, The Royal Tenenbaums and The Runaway Juror. So huge range of films that he was in, a real breadth. And he was known for these tough guy roles, so in Bonnie and Clyde and The French Connection. But he never kind of lapsed into stereotypes. The performances were always very nuanced, very complex. But he also wasn't afraid to have fun and play these comedy roles like in Superman 1 and 2. And the last film he made, in fact, was a comedy. That was in 2003. He retired from acting in 2004 on the advice of his doctor. But he also struggled with being a star, he said. He said, I trained to be an actor. I didn't train to be a star. He didn't love doing interviews and kind of the press that goes along with being a Hollywood actor. He said he found that very difficult. He also said he found it really difficult to watch himself on screen. He didn't think of himself as traditionally handsome. And he said he didn't actually think at first he could be an actor because he didn't see himself as handsome. That's how he saw himself. But he was so beloved, and really so many people are shocked today, and also thinking about those amazing roles that he played. And I'm sure with the Oscars just days away, he will be remembered in quite a big way by many of the people that will be attending. And I'm sure there will be some reference to him in the ceremony itself, because he was such a Hollywood legend. He last appeared really at a big public event in 2003 at an awards ceremony when he was getting a special award. And then him and his wife Betsy, who was a classical pianist, decided that they wanted a quieter life, and they moved to New Mexico, possibly, as I said, on the advice of his doctor, embracing a more quieter life, because he found acting, although he obviously loved it, he found it quite stressful. So they moved to a pretty rural area and just had a much slower pace of life. And we were talking before, weren't we, that before he was an actor, he actually joined the US Marine Corps when he was 16, and he served for 4 years, but had lied about his age so he could sign up when he was too young. But he said he didn't think he was very successful because he hated taking orders and he hated authority. So he said he didn't love being a Marine Corps for that aspect of it, having to take orders, of course, an essential part of being in the military. And then he went on to acting. He had his breakthrough role in Bonnie and Clyde in 1967. And then he became pretty much this constantly working actor. He was really never off our screens. And I think that's perhaps why people don't realise that he actually retired quite a long time ago, because his films, he made so many of them, as I said, around 100, are constantly shown on television or on streaming. So people would have seen a lot of his films probably fairly recently. And I was thinking, you know, of films that I grew up watching, like Superman in the UK always seemed to be on a Saturday and Sunday afternoon, one of the 2 Superman films. So you grew up watching his films, and Crimson Tide as well, and The French Connection, a real tough guy role, as I said, and he burst onto screen, didn't he? I mean, he was described as having the face of a truck driver, which seems an unusual way of putting it. But he was so distinctive looking, wasn't he? And he really made those roles his own. And to be able to go from the very serious roles like Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood Western in 1992, into the Young Frankenstein film, where he was just playing this very funny, spoofy role, and to do both of them with equal ability and aplomb is really quite unusual for a lot of actors. They can't necessarily switch from doing the very serious stuff to the very fun comedy, but he seemed to enjoy, obviously, everything he did. But he did say that that came at a cost. As I said, he wasn't comfortable with being a Hollywood star. He wanted to be an actor. He liked his craft of acting, but didn't necessarily want to be a celebrity and have that invasion into his private life.
Yeah, incredible career. And you say that those films that you feel like he's still acting, because Poseidon Adventure, for example, I swear I've seen that just relatively recently, because it's always on. Charlotte Gallagher, thank you so much for just reminding us of that incredible career, and the very sad news that Gene Hackman has been found deceased with his wife and the dog. But of course, police saying that they do not say foul play is a factor in these deaths, but this is an active investigation. So let's just take a moment to look back at Gene Hackman's long and illustrious career. Here's David Sillito.
All right, Popeye's here. Get your hands on your heads. Get off the bar and get on the wall.
Popeye Doyle in The French Connection was Gene Hackman's defining role.
Move, face the ball. Turn around there. Turn around. Move.
It brought him the first of his 2 Oscars in a career that saw him nominated 5 times. Not bad for a man voted least likely to succeed at acting school. He'd been given that particular award alongside classmate Dustin Hoffman.
Got more important things on my mind than that garbage.
And it did take him a while to get going.
Real nice meeting you. Yeah.
He was in his mid-30s by the time of his first big movie.
Take a good look, Pop.
But then
I'm Buck Barrel.
came an Oscar nomination for his role in Bonnie and Clyde.
For the Barrel Boys!
And after that, his big break. Bleak, brutal, and gripping, The French Connection turned him into one of Hollywood's most compelling tough guys. But the role didn't come naturally.
Matter of fact, the second day of shooting, I had asked the director to replace me because I just didn't feel I could do it. I was popping these guys in the mouth and playing this tough guy, and it was real tough. I had never played a role that demanding. And after a while, you punch somebody long enough, you get kind of used to it, you know?
Well, I ain't gonna hurt no woman.
And he got very good at it,
I'm gonna hurt you.
with an Oscar for Unforgiven and another nomination for Mississippi Burning.
Now, you either go on the record for us right now, or it's going to be your ass we're talking about, not just the black kids.
But there was more to him than that. From the paranoia of the conversation to the comedy of the Royal Tenenbaums, he was a versatile actor who excelled at playing the ordinary guy. And while he may have lacked traditional film idol good looks, he was undoubtedly a star.
Remembering the illustrious career of Gene Hackman, who at the age of 95 has been found dead along with his wife at their home in Santa Fe in New Mexico. A police investigation is underway at the moment. No foul play is suspected. Let's return to our breaking news story. The Oscar-winning American actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa have been found dead in their home in New Mexico in the United States. So let's cross over to New York to get the very latest from our CBS correspondent Jared Hill, who joins us. And Jared, the United States waking up to this shock news. Just bring us up to date. Of course, not much detail, but where are we with the police investigation?
That's right, Katja. So very early in the police investigation into the death of 95-year-old Gene Hackman, his wife, Betsy, who is 64, as well as their dog. What we are learning here is that authorities were initially notified yesterday afternoon by a neighbor in their neighborhood, someone who said that they had some concerns about the couple. They went in for a welfare check and found them both dead at the home. At this point, there is no indication, law enforcement say, of any kind of foul play. No cause of death has been given yet either with this.
It's very early on into this investigation, but you were saying that a neighbour had raised the alarm, so to speak, and Gene Hackman and his wife, they moved there for a quieter life, of course. It must be a real shock to the United States, given the just how immensely successful and beloved Gene Hackman was.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Gene Hackman had five Oscar nominations, had won 2 Oscars. He was well decorated, also well celebrated, well known throughout a number of movies in his career. He was someone who was seen as a bit of a chameleon, being able to really melt into a number of different types of roles, considered himself basically an everyman. Back in 2009, he did an interview actually with GQ where he said that he wasn't necessarily retiring from acting, but he said that he, quote, didn't want to keep pressing and risk going out on a real sour note. That same interview, he also said that he wanted to sum up his life by saying that he tried. He thought that that was a fairly accurate assessment of his career up to that point. Still, as you mentioned, so many questions around what happened here. Again, police are saying that there is not the suspected belief that there was any kind of foul play, but a lot of questions as to what actually happened to this couple.
Yeah, Jared, so many questions, so much sadness to the United States waking up to this news. Jared, thank you so much from CBS there joining us from New York. Many thanks. Of course, just to reiterate that the Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies have been dispatched to Gene Hackman's home, and an investigation is underway, active and ongoing investigation, but foul play is not suspected as a factor. Of course, we will bring you any developments here on BBC News.